Low-quality construction projects are prevalent in China. I'm checking on behalf of the homeowner. Oh my, what's going on? This corner is completely misaligned, and a chunk has completely fallen off underneath. It feels like it's suspended or something. This is too exaggerated.
这完全错位了，这下面已经完全掉了一块，感觉悬浮了一样，这太夸张了。
The developer builds houses worth millions, yet they deliver substandard work. Look at this wall. You could practically scratch it off with your hands. Look at it. Do you see? Should we report this house? I'm telling everyone, should we report this? It would be strange if this house doesn't collapse. This is unacceptable.
你看，这是墙，拿手勾都可以勾得下来。这是墙，看到吗？是吧？这是房子，你说要不要举报的？你们大家说，要不要举报的？这个房子，你看呢？这房子不会倒才怪的，这样子搞。
The positioning of the columns in the construction drawings was incorrect, and the error was only discovered after the completion of the construction. The foundation has already begun to settle, and the only solution is to use steel pipes to support the columns, directly connecting them to the beams, which have already started to crack. It's about our staircase. It seems to have overshot by about 80 to 90 centimeters. The subcontractor said it was a bit narrow, so we modified it. Originally, the wall was 24 inches, but we changed it to 18 inches, adding 10 centimeters. After the adjustment, the beam in this area doesn't align properly. You can see that the beam doesn't connect to the column high head on both sides. It's slightly misaligned. If it were normal, it should be like this, fitting snugly on the high head. The load-bearing capacity may have some issues now. What's this nonsense? You don't care about this either. It's all the developer's business. I don't even know who told you to do this. You tell me who told you to do this. How can you shout for him to do it? Now this building is useless because you buried it. I'm absolutely not joking.
我绝对没开玩笑。几千万啊！几千万不怕说。哼，你们两个，我真的是拿你们没办法了。这个也能敲啊？你们看。
In May 2023, homeowners in Nanchang, Jiangxi, discovered a severely damaged load-bearing column in the underground garage of their residential complex, with steel reinforcements bent and deformed. An appraisal institution recently analyzed the damage, highlighting serious defects in the construction quality of the concrete, significantly affecting structural safety. Despite the institution stating that the damage was an isolated case, homeowners expressed broader concerns about the complex's safety. You can even dig it out with your hands. Just look at this cement concrete. What sort of inferior building is this? The damaged column, initially concealed with aluminum plastic panels, was accidentally uncovered by a homeowner on May 11, 2023. Homeowners were perplexed about the concealment, which infringed upon their right to be informed. The act of concealment heightened distrust among homeowners. Repairing the visible damage is feasible, but rebuilding trust requires collaborative efforts from local departments to address homeowners' concerns. Homeowners, worried about the overall complex safety, demanded a comprehensive inspection of beams, columns, and slabs. They obstructed repairs on the damaged column, leading to conflicts and injuries. Police have initiated an investigation. Urgency surrounds repairing the damaged load-bearing column for structural integrity, but homeowners fear neglecting other potential issues. Balancing immediate repairs and rebuilding trust is crucial. Look at this. Just a light jump, and it cracked open. Can you believe they built the house like this? Sneakily trying to deceive us, homeowners inspecting their new homes were in for a surprise when, with just a gentle jump, the floorboards broke. The property developer shamelessly claimed it was because the homeowner was too heavy, stating they had never seen such audacity. Recently, in a certain residential complex, homeowners spent millions on their new homes. After eagerly waiting for the developer to hand over the properties, they were met with an unexpected accident during the inspection. Upon lightly jumping on the floorboards, they cracked and broke. Can you believe it? The floor even opened up. How can I live here? Dare I even place furniture on it? Following this incident, other homeowners went home to inspect their own floorboards. A gentle jump on the ground, and to their astonishment, the floorboards cracked and shattered right under their feet. The broken pieces even fell to the floor below. Unexpectedly, all the floorboards were as fragile as tofu. Inside, there were no reinforcing bars, absolutely none. No reinforcing bars mean no structural integrity. For the partition boards, the steel inside was like wires, and they were from 2008. Just a kick, and they broke. The quality was extremely worrying, especially regarding load-bearing capacity. When they removed the cement from the floor, they found there was nothing inside. Unlike regular floorboards reinforced with steel bars, even if some had steel inside, a gentle shake would make them fall apart. The quality of the construction was seriously questionable. The walls had exposed cement, and when touched, it crumbled. Additionally, the reinforcing bars of load-bearing beams were exposed, and a slight touch caused the cement on top to fall off. Homeowners were not only shocked and angered, but also concerned for their safety. The condition of the floorboards made it impossible to place any furniture or appliances on them. Homeowners feared being hit while sleeping and worried about the floor collapsing when walking. Besides jeopardizing residents' safety, the new homes failed to meet the expected construction and delivery standards. Oh, in the lobby, the walls and floor tiles were supposed to be covered with tiles, but in reality, only paint was applied. The standard specifications indicated that the lobby and corridors should have wall and floor tiles, but the delivered new homes had walls covered only in paint. You're saying, how many patches does my house need, and how many slots do I have to cut? At that time, I mentioned it's a complete fracture. The bricks inside are cracked, you know. In fact, the upper part here has already cracked. Do we need to use cement slurry to fill all the cracks? He directly used concrete to smear on the crack, and it's still there, you know. Now we're just dealing with the surface at the moment. I patched up here, and then the lower part started cracking again. I've already patched up many times, and now it's cracking while being patched. Now it's cracking here again, you know. If it continues to crack, the outer wall will leak more than $1 million. Buying a house for a few $100,000 and spending hundreds of thousands on decoration, it's gotten to the point now. My savings, accumulated over 2 or 3 years, have all been invested here. The reporter interviewed the developer about the issues raised by the homeowners. The developer said it's just a common engineering quality defect, not ruling it out. After repairs, there's still a possibility of the same cracking issue, which is also a common occurrence. The bed in the north-south direction has cracks, and there are 11 cracks in the east-west direction. The top slab of the main bedroom has 4 cracks, and the top slab of the south second bedroom has 5 cracks. In the north second bedroom, there are 3 cracks in the floor slab. In total, 24 cracks were detected at 21 points, with the widest crack measuring 1.00 millimeters. The smallest crack width we measured is 0.35 millimeters, indicating a severe quality defect in the main structure. If it weren't for your inspection, I wouldn't have known that the cracks were so severe. I dare not live in such a house. The incomplete construction of Evergrande properties in Wuhan has become a nightmare for many homeowners, reflecting the broader challenges facing the real estate market in China. This crisis has not only affected individuals' financial well-being, but has also led to fractured families and strained marriages. One poignant story involves Aunt Lee, who, having invested a substantial down payment and repaid loans for 2 years, now finds herself evicted from her home due to complaints from her daughter-in-law. We want to share a story about the emotional and financial struggle of a woman in the face of the Evergrande crisis in China. This is the reason why there are so many old Chinese still have to work outside in their 50s or 60s. The woman told about her current living situation, including being driven out by her daughter-in-law, staying at a train station, and even sleeping on the street. If I die later, I'll just sleep in that house until I die. If I don't die, the house is useless. I'll sell that house myself, take the money, and live or perish on my own. If I can't sell it and the house can't be sold. This is Building 56, and my house is on that side, near the subway. I can see it from the station. This Evergrande Times New City landmark is on the highest point. It's exciting to see this. I thought it would be great if the house is delivered. This road on this side is ruined. Look at this road. It's called Flower C. Oh, really? It used to be a company on the Fortune Global 500 list, but now it's closed. Look at that area. It used to be utilized. It's not abandoned. It can't be abandoned there. Is this your house? Yeah, this is our house. It's Unit 902. Did you buy it as a shell or fully decorated? Fully decorated. It was just over 80,000 yuan. Actually, I paid more than 400,000 down payment and had a monthly installment of 4,000 to 4,500. I've been paying for 2 years, and it's about 500,000 to 600,000 in total. It opened in 2019, and I bought it in 2020. In May 2022, we delivered one batch, another in August, and the last in November. You see, can this be delivered? Like this? Did you pay 400,000 down payment with your own money? I borrowed more than 100,000. Our relatives and friends, my son, who was in the army, also had some subsidies. My daughter also gave 70,000 to 80,000. We saved our whole life, accumulated tens of thousands. Who knew that when the house was delivered, it would be like this? There is noon here. If my children get married, I plan to buy a house in Wuhan. I said the preparation was almost done and money was ready to buy them a bed, furniture, and necessary things. How long has this been going on? Almost 2 months. How much is your monthly salary? 2,082 yuan. Where do you usually live? Right here, in the small house. Before, have you always worked in the urban area of Wuhan? No, I stayed at home. I'm from a rural area. I have nowhere to live now. My daughter-in-law won't let me live there. I have nowhere to go. She drove me out, changed the lock, and won't let me in. When I came out, I really had nowhere to go. I couldn't find a job for a few days, so I stayed at the train station. I slept on the street. I have no place to go. I sat there for 2 days. I said I still thanked them for giving me a place to stay here. I cook for these migrant workers every day. The meal is easy to make. We are so poor. Our life savings were cheated by them. How can I vent my anger? I really don't know how. We don't even have a place to live. I run outside every day, protect our rights. Eat or not, no one cares where I am. My son, husband, and daughter only know that the house hasn't been delivered, but they don't know the pressure I'm under. If the whole family shares this problem, it would reduce a lot of pressure. So, it's not that much money that crushes me? I'm mentally crushed. My son and daughter are both in college and have been well educated. My daughter also found a good job and she found an ideal job. Why, when I'm 50 or 60 years old, do I still have to work outside? All the conflicts in her family are caused by the Evergrande bankruptcy. The phenomenon of incomplete constructions extends beyond Evergrande, drawing attention to the issue of abandoned buildings nationwide. Many homebuyers, like Aunt Lee, have invested their life savings only to see their dreams shattered as construction projects remain unfinished. The rise of incomplete constructions is attributed to various factors, including irresponsible developers, lax regulatory oversight, and financial market fluctuations. A fundamental cause of this crisis is the real estate bubble that has persisted for years. As housing prices soar, families are willing to go to extreme lengths, even sacrificing essential needs, to secure a property, especially evident in first-tier cities. What are the reasons for the existence of substandard construction projects in China? The prevalence of substandard construction projects in China can be attributed to various factors, including systemic issues, economic considerations, and regulatory challenges. It's important to note that while there have been instances of substandard construction in China, many projects in the country meet high standards. However, some key factors contributing to the prevalence of substandard construction projects include rapid urbanization and development. China has undergone rapid urbanization and economic development, leading to a high demand for construction projects. The fast pace of development can sometimes result in inadequate planning, oversight, and quality control. Corruption within the construction industry, including bribery and collusion, can compromise the integrity of projects. Officials or inspectors may be influenced to overlook violations, allowing substandard materials or construction practices to go unchecked. Lax enforcement of regulations. In some cases, regulations and building codes may exist, but the enforcement may be lax. This can be due to insufficient resources, corruption, or inadequate regulatory frameworks. Cost-cutting measures. Economic considerations sometimes lead to cost-cutting measures that compromise the quality of construction. Developers and contractors may use substandard materials or cut corners to reduce expenses, impacting the long-term durability and safety of the structures. Fragmented regulatory system. The regulatory system in China can be complex and fragmented, with different levels of government responsible for overseeing various aspects of construction. This fragmentation can lead to coordination challenges and gaps in supervision. Lack of skilled labor. The rapid expansion of the construction industry has sometimes outpaced the availability of skilled labor. In some cases, unqualified workers may be employed, leading to errors and substandard construction. Pressure to meet targets and deadlines. Local governments and developers may face pressure to meet ambitious development targets and deadlines. This pressure can contribute to rushed construction processes, reducing the attention to quality and safety. Inadequate testing and inspection. Testing and inspection procedures may be insufficient or compromised, allowing substandard materials or construction practices to go unnoticed. The pervasive issue of substandard construction projects in China can be attributed to a systemic challenge, namely the corruption within regulatory bodies. This corruption, in turn, is rooted in the concentration of absolute power among officials associated with the CCP. Addressing this fundamental issue is crucial for ensuring the integrity and safety of construction projects in the country. Owners haven't received rent. Zhongmao Town trembles. Blood stains Zhongmao Town. Businesses occupied without paying rent. Disgraceful. Only with force can you protect your rights. Otherwise, you'll face violence if you resist. A series of protests took place across mainland China. People felt unjustly suppressed. Millions of Chinese police poured into the streets to suppress the crowd, helpless before the overwhelming force of angry protesters. In recent times, people on mainland China are increasingly voicing their concerns through strikes and demonstrations. According to the Collective Action Map of Workers compiled by the China Labor Bulletin, CLB, from January to August of this year, there have been at least 875 strikes, protests, or demonstrations across China. Among them, Guangdong Province recorded the highest number with 287 events this year, involving at least 29,000 participants. Of these protests, 78% were marching demonstrations, 10% involved displaying protest banners. In a report, the CLB noted a significant increase in strikes and protests in 2023, with 741 events in the first half of the year compared to 830 events throughout 2022. These aren't isolated incidents, but rather reflections of the mounting economic pressures faced by many in China. As economic challenges persist, the ripple effect is felt widely, prompting more individuals and groups to take to the streets, making their grievances known across various regions of the country. This indicates an increasing instability in China's labor and economic environment. CCP limits New Year gatherings. Students protest erupt. As the year-end approaches in mainland China, the regime fears public gatherings during holidays such as New Year's. They previously prohibited Christmas Eve and Christmas Day celebrations and are now restricting New Year's gatherings. This indicates the regime's vulnerability. Recently, netizens have exclaimed that the CCP appears to face its most formidable generation. As 2024 New Year's approaches, notices across the country discourage New Year's Eve events. There are no countdown activities or large public gatherings, with police implementing crowd control measures. The CCP fears collective protests and thus cancels all festive celebrations, encouraging people to watch TV countdowns to 2024. Unexpectedly, a new generation of students has initiated school-based protests. Recently, students were exposed to extended school hours, no winter or summer breaks, and no weekends. Many schools have seen protests against these conditions, some successfully. It's peculiar that Chinese students are protesting for holidays, an unprecedented event globally. According to student representatives, thousands of male and female dormitory residents began protesting around 11 p.m. on December 28th. The school allowed security to record the protests, accusing students of inciting Hong Kong-like riots. Despite promises to negotiate without penalizing anyone, the school later reneged on its commitments. The students' primary demand was a 3-day break. The school's inconsistent actions led to disciplinary measures against the protesting students. However, the student representative expressed gratitude for the unity and courage displayed by his classmates. Recently, freshmen at Tianjin Academy of Fine Arts posted banners criticizing the institution's teaching arrangements. They opposed a mandatory year-long realistic painting training for all disciplines, which they deemed irrelevant to their future professions. The school removed these banners, but students marked the locations, stating, "Here, there were once 3 A4 papers." The school then painted over these markings. In defiance, students remarked the spots, asserting, "Here, there were once 3 A4 papers." Protest erupts over Ningling killings, CCP blocks internet and highways. At another secondary school, a horrifying incident unfolded. A 14-year-old boy from Ningling County, Shangqiu City, Henan Province, was suspected of being tortured to death by school teachers. However, the school claimed it was a suicide, reigniting public attention. As authorities deployed a large number of special police and officers to enforce citywide lockdown measures, tens of thousands of Henan residents bravely resisted the oppressive force. In reality, had the school and local government not concealed the truth and allowed a proper police investigation, such a large-scale public event might not have erupted. Currently, the Communist Party has deleted all online posts and articles related to this incident. Those who exposed the incident have reportedly been arrested by local police. It's said that the Henan Provincial Public Security Department has issued orders to suppress any emerging dissent. On the afternoon of December 24th, his parents finally saw their son, but were presented with a harrowing sight. Yet, the school insisted he died from falling off a building. The Communist Party's forensic department verbally supported this claim, but did not provide a written report or specify the time of death. The grieving parents demanded surveillance footage from the school, which was staunchly refused. Subsequently, the boy's family placed wreaths outside the school gates, holding his photo to demand justice. A large crowd gathered, including bystanders and police, leaving the officers speechless. Simultaneously, as the public learned of the injustice, their anger surged like a tide in support of the grieving parents. Flowers piled up at the school gate in memory of the deceased child. More and more people joined protests at the school, breaking through police barriers and school gates, heading straight to the school leaders' offices. They vandalized the offices and surrounded the leaders' black cars, demanding answers. Outside the school, intense clashes erupted between the public and the police. Faced with the protesting crowd, the police retreated repeatedly. Suddenly, a man in white shouted, "Halt!" and charged at the police. The crowd followed, driving the police away, though many were arrested in the process. Protesters chanted slogans and stormed the county government building. However, instead of addressing the public's grievances with fairness and justice, authorities escalated their control measures. Subsequently, citizens spotted dozens of special police buses rushing to the scene for stabilization. At the same time, residents of Ningling County received intimidating notices. Everyone was advised to avoid Ningling County and the Yuhua Garden area. All entrances to the county were under strict control, warning that anyone apprehended would bear the consequences themselves. Those with matters to attend to in the county were told to postpone their visits. Especially for parents whose children attend school in Yuhua Garden, they were cautioned against sharing negative information on social media platforms. Anyone found disseminating such information would face corresponding legal consequences. On the same day, Shangqiu City declared partial closures of highways, citing heavy fog as the reason. Soon after, all highways within Shangqiu jurisdiction were shut down. By December 29th, every intersection in Ningling County was heavily guarded by special police. Private vehicles were strategically placed across key intersections to block roads. Despite this, numerous residents took to the streets. Due to police roadblocks, many were trapped outside schools. Police officers, armed with pepper spray, shouted at the crowd, urging unrelated individuals to leave, stating the matter did not concern them and warning against any disruptions. Eventually, the authorities took a severe measure. They cut off the internet. While the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs proclaimed externally that China is the safest country in the world, their own foreign minister, Qin Gang, remains conspicuously absent. The entire city demanded truth from the government. Instead of revealing the facts, the authorities not only resisted transparency, but also resorted to suppressive tactics. Zhongmao town owners rally against rent and police violence. Recently, on December 9th, hundreds of property owners in Zhongmao Town, Changsha District, Hubei Province, gathered to demand the return of their shops and protest against police violence. To voice their grievances, these owners marched through a shopping center, banging pots and pans and honking horns. Their primary concerns were long overdue rent payments by the tenants and alleged police brutality. This demonstration persisted into the evening, with police attempting to seize banners from the property owners, leading to minor clashes. Videos captured numerous property owners inside and outside the shopping center, holding white fabric banners with messages like, "Owners haven't received rent," "Zhongmao Town trembles," "Blood stains Zhongmao Town," and "Businesses occupied without paying rent. Disgraceful." Frustrated by the inability to collect rent from their shops, around 3,000 property owners have been actively defending their rights since 2019. In response to the situation, online commentators remarked, "Only with force can you protect your rights. Otherwise, you'll face violence if you resist." Another stated, "The government's solution is delay tactics. If these owners are cornered, the issue might be resolved. Investing in China, with its market economy governed by a regime with no lower limits, inevitably leads to such predicaments." Zhuji Pearl Trade Hub faces protests amid economic strain. The economic downturn experienced in China has given rise to significant disruptions, with various instances of scallion cutting sparking extensive and continuous public demonstrations. Zhuji City, often hailed as the global epicenter for freshwater pearl trade, stands out as a paramount hub in this industry. Since its establishment in 2006, covering a sprawling 1.2 million square meters, this city has been instrumental in catering to the needs of more than 60 nations and territories. Impressively, it commands a dominant presence by controlling a staggering 80% share of China's freshwater pearl market and over 75% on a global scale. This signifies its unparalleled stature as the preeminent pearl distribution center worldwide. Recent reports circulating online shed light on a significant development, a profound gesture of protest by over 1,000 merchants based in the International Pearl City and Huadong International Jewelry City within Chuyu City, Jiangxi Province. Their unified action on December 8th involved a collective shutdown of their businesses, driven by grievances over an exorbitant six-fold surge in rental costs, underscoring the mounting economic challenges faced by stakeholders in the region. Langfang merchants protest rent hikes and contract breaches. Additionally, there's news circulating online that over 1,000 merchants at an international auto parts center in Langfang City, Hebei Province, staged a collective strike on November 13th. They were protesting against the center's violation of contracts and unjustified rent hikes. Some of the merchants claimed they had already paid their rent and management fees for October. However, in November, the management allegedly breached the contract by demanding an additional management fee of over 20,000 yuan. A video clip showed a significant gathering of merchants outside the International Auto Parts Center, purportedly voicing their dissent by shouting together, "Return our homes! Return our homes!" Clashes erupt as authorities attempt to close canal in Shuangcheng. On August 5th, the Water Conservancy Department of Shuangcheng District, Jia Urban City, Heilongjiang Province, dispatched personnel to Tianjin town to close a canal. Concerned citizens, fearing potential flooding, confronted the department's workers. Videos captured the scene where armed forces, special police, regular police, and civilians clashed throughout the day. One video recorder commented, "All police forces from Shuangcheng District are here," while another observed, "The police are monitoring the site, preventing citizens from approaching. Let's see how the ordinary people can counter the authorities." Another individual pointed out the challenging situation, noting the presence of over 100 police officers. In another video, residents continued their resistance late into the night. "It's past 8 p.m. and it's not over yet. The district leaders and department heads are present. We won't let them close the canal," the video recorder stated. Some residents even threatened to drown themselves if the canal was closed. Footage from the evening of August 5th showed citizens jumping into the water to obstruct officials from closing the canal, leading to multiple cries of alarm from onlookers. Some claimed the situation was nearing a tragic outcome, with others alleging that police had used pepper spray to disperse the crowds. Beijing flood strategy sparks local resistance. Since late July, Beijing has been releasing floodwaters, causing areas like Mentuju and Fengshan to flood. The Jeizhou district, under the jurisdiction of Boding City, Hebei Province, faced severe flooding. Online rumors suggested that Tracchao was being used as a flood storage area to protect Beijing and its adjacent Xi'an. As Beijing is the political and economic heart of China, and the development of the new Hong'an district is part of the Millennium Plan, expert Wang Weiluo, residing in Germany, claimed authorities redirected floodwaters to protect the new district. Local residents opposed this decision. A video from August 4th showed villagers from Gaobeidian, Baoding City, defending their levees as government workers attempted to dig into them, leading to confrontations. Beijing Red Cross faces criticism over donations. In July, the Beijing Red Cross released a list of clothing donations, including a substantial contribution from the Wumu fashion company worth 1.5 million yuan. However, the specifics of the donation, including 4,640 suits and 1,020 vests, drew public ridicule. Netizens joked, questioning the relevance of formal attire for flood victims. As discussions swirled, many speculated on the authenticity and intentions behind these contributions. Despite attempts by the Beijing Red Cross to control the narrative, many continued to mock the organization's efforts, leading to more controversy and skepticism online. CPC's global ambitions spark international concern. Amidst rising discontent among the Chinese populace protesting against their government, the Chinese Communist Party, CPC, has intensified its suppressive tactics, aiming to strengthen its global influence through political maneuvering. Xi Jinping, the CPC's leader, has vigorously pursued the Chinese dream, seeking to enhance China's international stature and sway. Such ambitions have manifested in the CPC's aggressive crackdown on religious freedoms and genocidal practices, especially in regions like Xinjiang and Tibet, drawing widespread international condemnation. Despite global outcry and warnings from various nations and entities about the repercussions of these actions, the CPC's stringent control mechanisms within China limit citizens' access to information, obscuring their understanding of the party's directives and policies. In response to these developments, nations and the international community must rise and implement specific measures. These measures encompass raising awareness and readiness within the international community against threatening behaviors from the CPC, as well as strengthening cooperation and solidarity among countries to counteract and prevent the CPC's expansion of power on the global stage. Shoddy construction incidents, such as the one involving the Monorail Conductor rail falling in Bangkok, Thailand, showcase serious concerns pertaining to the safety and quality of projects associated with China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. On December 24th at approximately 5 a.m., a disaster struck as a significant section of the monorail's conductor rail, which was part of Bangkok's Pink Line monorail system, detached from its elevated position at the intersection of Chang Market in Xi'an, Bangkok. The heavy metal conduit came crashing down, causing a trail of destruction that included 3 cars and a motorcycle, as well as knocking down several high-voltage power poles. Fortunately, given the early hour of the incident, there were no casualties. Yet the potential for harm was palpable. Invested in by the BRI and manufactured by a subsidiary of CRRC, the Pink Line monorail represented a strategic infrastructure development designed to bolster urban mobility within the bustling city. Yet this accident has reignited scrutiny and skepticism within Thailand regarding the quality and reliability of products emanating from China, echoing a global apprehension towards China's export of infrastructure projects. Preliminary investigations into the cause of this calamity indicated a fault in the concrete fixtures that held the conductor rail in place. But the broader implications hint at systemic issues within the construction practices linked to the BRI. The Bangkok incident is not an anomaly, but an emblematic representation of the construction challenges that partner nations confront when engaging with the BRI, a sprawling transcontinental development strategy aimed at enhancing regional connectivity and fostering economic development. Since its inception in 2013, China has heralded the BRI as a pathway towards prosperity for its participants. However, this ambitious initiative has come under scrutiny for the alleged prioritization of China's state interests over tangible benefits for the host countries, often leaving them grappling with debt and safety concerns. Construction woes and debt dilemmas. Criticism mounts over China's global building blitz. Public concerns about the construction quality of Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) projects are growing, particularly in Thailand, where the trust in made-in-China products is wavering. Thailand, once receptive to China's infrastructure ambitions, has now found itself questioning the integrity and safety of such projects. Incidents like the falling conductor rail from Bangkok's Pink Line monorail, scheduled to open in 2024 but experiencing significant structural failures even during its trial operations, have cast doubts over the sturdiness and endurance of these constructions. This incident underscores not just an isolated case of technical failure, but symbolizes a pattern of skepticism clouding Chinese-made infrastructure. Worryingly, the peril extends beyond the borders of Thailand throughout the extensive reach of the BRI, implying a trend of compromised quality in the sprawling web of China's international projects. In Uganda, for instance, the Karuma hydroelectric power station witnessed delays and defects, causing not just setbacks in energy provision to the country, but also financial strain, as loan repayments loomed before operation commencement. In Ecuador, the Cococoto-Sinclair Dam, beset with 17,000 cracks and technical failures shortly after its activation, emerged as an enduring symbol of misplaced trust and foreign dependency. These infrastructures, crafted and financed under the BRI banner, carry not only the weight of concrete and steel, but also the heavy expectations of economic reprieve and progressive partnerships for developing nations. When the tangible outcomes manifest in substandard quality and project efficiencies, the hope gives way to disillusionment, calling into question the long-term impact of the BRI on the societal and ecological well-being of the involved countries. The ramifications of these concerns reach deep, affecting sovereign indebtedness scenarios where the soft power cloak of development assistance potentially veils neo-colonial agendas and debt traps. These projects have led to debt crises in many BRI countries, with loans from Chinese banks encumbering local economies with financial obligations disproportionate to their repayment capabilities. Moreover, the high-stakes nature of infrastructure projects, coupled with the complex geopolitics of Sino-foreign relations, makes the subject of construction quality not just a matter of technical competence, but a nuanced discourse involving economic sovereignty and strategic autonomy, as Thailand and other countries grapple with these fraught dimensions within their partnerships under the BRI. The global community watches with a keen eye on the sustainability and ethical considerations of China's overseas infrastructural ventures. Global doubts cast over quality and debt in China's Belt and Road construction projects. The financial strategy behind the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, through which China aims to finance infrastructure projects in participating countries, has been a prominent cornerstone of Beijing's global outreach. This ambitious plan, spearheaded by the Chinese government, involves delivering loans to fund a wide array of infrastructure developments, from highways and railways to ports and dams, in the countries that are knitted into the BRI network. China's role in these endeavors isn't just that of a financial backer, but extends to planting deep economic roots, becoming one of the major governmental lenders to developing countries around the world. According to data from the China-Africa Research Initiative at Johns Hopkins University, Chinese enterprises have skyrocketed the profit of contractors' business revenue in Africa throughout the year. Not only that, the vast majority of mega-projects in Africa are built by China. This striking figure reflects not merely a growing economic footprint, but also indicates China's broader geopolitical ambitions. The financial elements of the BRI have led observers to question the underlying intent behind this expansive economic development plan. While ostensibly promoting economic cooperation and mutual growth, the BRI has drawn criticism for seeming more like a channel for the Communist Party of China to amplify its global influence and embed its reach deeply within the domestic affairs of partner states. Diving deeper, the level of involvement of Chinese state-owned enterprises, SOEs, in the BRI projects invokes further scrutiny. SOEs are not just any ordinary players, they are entities through which the Chinese government can exert influence. With an enormous representation in the BRI's workings, these SOEs have been primary beneficiaries of the initiative. These corporations, under direct or indirect government control, are responsible for undertaking roughly half of the major infrastructure projects associated with the BRI, accounting for contractual amounts that exceed 70% of the total involvement. Such dominant participation of Chinese state-backed companies in BRI-contracted projects points to a blurred line between pure economic agreements and China's strategic state policies. The monetary magnitude of China's lending through the BRI is staggering. Public records illustrate that in the past 10 years, China has provided almost $1 trillion in loans to countries associated with the BRI. To place this in perspective, the volume of China's loans is nearly on par with the aggregate loans provided by all other government lenders combined, which not only underscores China's colossal role as a global creditor, but also indicates the potential financial leverage the nation holds over developing countries within the BRI fold. In essence, the involvement of the Chinese state in the BRI's financial mechanics and contract dynamics gives considerable clout to Beijing in shaping infrastructure development across the globe while steering a conversation about the legitimacy of its economic diplomacy. The extensive role of the SOEs and the enormity of the loans China provides pose substantial ramifications for the global geopolitical fabric, highlighting a need for greater transparency and vigilance about the terms and true costs of engagement within the BRI framework. Quality and debt concerns plague China's Belt and Road Initiative projects. Multiple countries have raised alarms over the shoddy construction quality associated with China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI projects, a concern reflected in a spate of alarming construction-related failures and the consequent economic strain placed on host nations. For example, the ceiling collapse at Islamabad International Airport in Pakistan is a poignant case in point. Constructed by the Chinese state-owned enterprise, China State Construction Engineering Corporation, the airport was intended to be a showcase of modern infrastructure. Instead, within months of inaugurating operations in May 2018, the airport was dogged by quality issues such as ceiling collapses, blocked sewage pipes, and sewage leaks. The public outrage was palpable as videos circulated on social media showed rainwater pouring into the terminal, accompanied by the crashing down of ceiling sections, an incident that sparked intense criticism aimed at the quality of the infrastructure provided under the BRI banner. Similarly, a Chinese-built bridge collapsed in Kenya 2 weeks after it was inspected by the president. 27 people had been hurted. These incidents across Pakistan, Ecuador, Uganda, and Kenya underscore a broader pattern of quality and delay issues besieging BRI projects, raising questions about the sustainability and economic prudence of these investments. The repercussions are severe, often leaving countries shouldering an immense debt burden, which not only impacts their fiscal balance but also entraps them in long-term financial dependencies. Accounts of construction mismanagement and the resulting deficiencies in these projects suggest that the BRI's ambition to serve as a corridor for global economic development might be overshadowed by burgeoning debt crises, compromised project quality, and, ultimately, mistrust in the promised delivery of infrastructure excellence. Compromised safety on the mainland. How wonder China can't build global projects. Domestic safety in China has been marred by frequent accidents, outdated technology, and management practices that fall short of ensuring passenger and operational security. These incidents are symptomatic of broader systemic issues that plague the Chinese railway system, a reflection of deeper concerns regarding transparency and governance under the auspices of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. The CCP, in its handling of railway accidents, has demonstrated an unsettling trend of obfuscation and the withholding of critical information from the public. A stark example of this tendency occurred on December 14, 2023. A subway train on the Changping line in Beijing experienced a collision causing the last 2 carriages to detach. The accident resulted in more than 100 injuries, including a pregnant woman with a fractured leg. Eyewitness accounts revealed chaos inside the darkened carriages where passengers were left injured and pressed against one another. Subsequent efforts to escape involved breaking windows and climbing out in the dark. Rescue services arrived approximately an hour later, and injured passengers were eventually transported to a nearby hospital for treatment. Despite official reports of over 30 injuries and no fatalities, the incident left many stranded due to severe weather conditions and disrupted transportation, demanding self-organized departures and challenging journeys home for the passengers affected. The Xi'an station was temporarily closed following the accident. Industry insiders have pointed to China's domestically produced communications-based train control system as a probable factor in the malfunction. This system, despite its key role in ensuring the safe operation of trains, has been implicated in several railway incidents. The reliance on homegrown technology over reliable foreign alternatives underscores a broader compromise on safety in favor of nationalistic preferences in procurement and technology adoption. The accident are far from isolated events. A pattern of railway traffic safety issues, marked by frequent derailments, collisions, and other mishaps, suggests that China's railway operation technology is not keeping pace with the demands of its expansive rail network. The operational philosophy appears to be characterized by a reactive, rather than proactive approach to safety management, where systemic flaws and technological shortcomings are only confronted after accidents occur, rather than being anticipated and addressed preemptively. Unfortunately, railway safety concerns are not the only problem. They symbolize an enduring challenge of transparency and accountability within China. These issues extend beyond the realm of public transportation infrastructure to a broader critique of China's approach to public safety, risk management, and the integrity of governance. The repercussions resonate internationally, particularly as China seeks to export its construction and transportation models through the Belt and Road Initiative, raising red flags for global partners about the risks associated with adopting similar systems for their domestic needs. Given China's ambitions to influence and integrate with the international community through initiatives like the BRI, the imperative for the CCP to uphold the highest standards of railway safety and accident disclosure has never been greater. China's burgeoning electric vehicle (EV) sector has been met with burgeoning safety concerns as the incidence of EV-related fire hazards and explosions has surged. Compounded by the aggressive adoption rate and government stimulus in China's automotive market, safety incidents have made both headlines and caused alarm among consumers and regulators alike. Eyewitness accounts and surveillance footage from various incidents across China reveal a disturbing pattern of EVs, combustible incidents, vehicles erupting into flames during normal charging processes or immediately after relatively minor collisions. Such was the case with a dramatic occurrence captured in a video showing a white-colored EV, plugged in for charging, suddenly erupting in a massive explosion. The vehicle appeared to be propelled meters into the air by the sheer force of the explosion, with fragments resembling car doors being hurled from the epicenter. In another chilling account, an electric car in Hangzhou City instantly combusted after striking a toll booth, resulting in the tragic deaths of 4 passengers, which threw the spotlight on the propensity for nickel-manganese-cobalt (NMC) batteries to thermal runaway, especially when subject to an impact. BYD, one of China's EV manufacturing frontrunners, has not been immune to these outbreaks of fire. Reports of a BYD sales center fire, where vehicles spontaneously ignited atop a building in Xi'an, leaving a lasting image of dense, dark smoke towering over the structure, have further contributed to public safety concerns. These incidents underscore a pressing need for comprehensive reviews of battery safety standards and production oversight. The reason behind the observed volatility in Chinese EVs is a complex interplay of factors, ranging from the aggressive push for quick market expansion, sometimes at the expense of adequate quality control, to inherent risks associated with rapidly advancing battery technologies. For example, high-energy density batteries like the NMC 811, which boast long driving ranges due to higher nickel content, are known to be more prone to instability and thermal events compared to their counterparts like lithium iron phosphate (LFP) batteries. China's focus on becoming a steadfast proponent of new energy vehicles has been shadowed by these safety concerns. As the world's largest market for EVs, addressing these issues is not just of national significance, but of global environmental and economic concern. Ensuring these vehicles can operate safely and dependably is imperative for the sustained growth of the EV industry in China and the protection of consumers who have embraced the future of automotive technology with enthusiasm. It is a critical juncture where vehicle safety must be firmly assured through rigorous testing, enhanced regulatory frameworks, and transparent communication between manufacturers, consumers, and safety authorities. Only through a concerted and transparent effort to mitigate these risks will confidence in China's electric vehicles be restored and their potential fully realized. China's electric vehicle industry confronts slowing expansion amid quality concerns. China's automotive industry, particularly the new energy vehicle (NEV) sector, is navigating through turbulent waters as consumer market trends indicate a shift in the economic undercurrents. The once stellar growth trajectory of the Chinese NEV market is showing signs of strain, with a noticeable softening of consumer purchasing power. This diminishing purchasing propensity is a reflection of broader economic headwinds and a growing hesitation among consumers to align with the price-to-quality ratio offered by the nascent industry. With a sizable array of electric vehicle options now available in the market, consumers are increasingly discerning in their choices, weighing the long-term value and reliability of their purchases. In a market where competition is intensifying, not only from domestic players but also from established foreign brands ramping up their electric offerings, Chinese NEVs face the critical challenge of proving their merit. Reports suggest that consumers are wary of committing to vehicles that have been marred by instances of safety concerns and technology malfunctions, despite their environmental allure and government subsidies. The automotive industry landscape is particularly telling as traditional internal combustion engine vehicle sales dwindle, and the NEV sector, while growing, is not entirely immune to these broader market dynamics. The China Passenger Car Association's CPCA data corroborates the cooling trend, with the estimated wholesale NEV sales totaling 8.88 million units in 2023, which marked a notable expansion of 38% year-on-year, yet indicates a slowdown in growth in the second half of the year. This deceleration can be interpreted as a harbinger for an anticipated downturn in the industry. The NEV market's softening demand links to several intersecting factors. Firstly, the consumer confidence shaken by reported safety incidents may lead to heightened scrutiny when selecting vehicles, prompting a closer examination of whether the higher costs of electric vehicles equate to sufficient quality and safety. Price sensitivity among buyers is also more pronounced as economic factors, such as employment uncertainty and income fluctuations during a global economic slowdown, impact discretionary spending. Moreover, while Chinese manufacturers are investing heavily in technology to claim a larger slice of the global EV pie, there is an overarching concern that this rapid expansion may have eclipsed the rigorous quality control processes typically associated with mature automotive markets. Long-term durability, battery lifespan, and post-sales service quality remain areas of concern that could dissuade potential buyers. In the grand scheme of things, China's transition to an electrified automotive future is not without its puzzles and paradoxes. The government's incentivization measures and ambitious carbon neutrality goals juxtapose with the reality of an industry attempting to reconcile rapid growth with emerging consumer skepticism. Battery oversupply fears and EV quality concerns threaten China's energy ambitions. The lithium-ion battery sector, a cornerstone of the booming new energy industry, is teetering on the edge of a precipice as it confronts a slew of daunting challenges. Foremost among these is the looming threat of a battery catastrophe, a term coined to describe an unsustainable market expansion that may soon spiral into a problematic overcapacity. Triggered by a frenetic race to meet the ravenous demand for electric vehicles and energy storage solutions, manufacturers have aggressively scaled up production. Yet this swift expansion is haunted by the specter of potential market saturation once supply outstrips demand, which could usher in a cascade of economic and environmental consequences. Complicating matters further is the dramatic collapse in futures prices of lithium carbonate, which has bludgeoned the financial health of battery manufacturers. Lithium, often referred to as white petroleum, has seen its value plummet, succumbing to the bears after reaching unprecedented heights. The zenith of the prices was seen in 2022, characteristically marked by supply shortages, which amplifies the stark contrast to the current trough. The price nosedive has been so severe that by December 5th, lithium carbonate futures hit their daily limit down, marking a new nadir since their listing and chalking up as the second consecutive session at the bottom end. This drastic reduction, an eye-watering 80% from its peak, has mercilessly eroded profit margins, pushing approximately a third of producers into operating at a loss. The contemporary landscape of lithium supply is a similarly dichotomous picture. While pivotal for the transition to a sustainable energy future, evidenced by tripling demand since 2017 and projected tenfold growth by 2050 under the IEA's net zero emissions scenario, it sits juxtaposed against a concerning backdrop. Reports and experts alike signal a disconcerting trajectory leading to a dire shortage. Benchmark mineral intelligence and financial institutions like Deutsche Bank predict debilitating supply deficits ranging from 300,000 TLCE to as much as 768,000 TLCE by 2030 if the business-as-usual scenario persists. Yet, even as these forewarnings echo through the corridors of the industry, reports have surfaced of lithium salt producers pumping the brakes on production and staring down the barrel of financial distress, an ominous sign that the consequences of the market's volatility are already manifesting. The status quo contrasts starkly from recent history's exuberance, where demand explosion from the EV market and concurrent energy storage boom had companies ramping up to a heady pace. Furthermore, the environmental footprint of scaling up battery production to such prodigious levels is raising alarm. With the majority of discarded lithium-ion batteries not being recycled, there arises a monumental concern over the adequate handling of this waste and its corresponding impact on ecosystems. China's cars are exploding left and right thanks to shoddy manufacturing. The rapid industrial expansion in China and the aggressive adoption of electric vehicles, EVs, have been marred by a serious rise in incidents involving car explosions. Despite the relatively low probability, with one report mentioning a 0.17% chance of an individual electric car catching fire, the number of accidents reported in the media is alarming. Over 2 years, there were 86 reported electric vehicle fire accidents, averaging 1 incident per week, according to one source. In another reckoning by the Fire and Rescue Bureau, there have been 6,462 electric vehicle fire accidents to date, which suggests a troubling trend in vehicular safety. Electric vehicles, particularly lauded for their environment-friendly potential, have run into serious issues with battery safety. These vehicles are powered by lithium-ion batteries, which are at risk of thermal runaway, a condition that leads to an uncontrollable increase in temperature and pressure, leading to combustion. This has led to multiple reports of spontaneous vehicle fires, sometimes in the absence of collisions or other obvious external triggers. Gasoline-powered cars in China have also been imperiled by similar safety oversights. Collisions and accidents, which may ordinarily result in manageable damage, turn disastrous when they trigger infernos due to compromised structural integrity and substandard fuel systems. Intentional acts of deploying vehicles as explosive devices have been reported as well. A lack of rigorous security measures has enabled vehicles to be weaponized, causing harm and chaos, turning everyday consumer cars into tools of terror. Furthermore, the industrial sector which supports the automotive industry, encompassing not just the manufacturing of cars, but also the transportation of chemicals and related materials, has seen its own share of catastrophic incidents. Factories and infrastructure involved in manufacturing and transportation have been sites of deadly blasts, adding to the statistics of vehicle-related explosions. The underlying cause of these incidents seems to lie in the gap between China's industrial ambitions and the enforcement of safety measures. Manufacturing processes often prioritize speed and cost, efficiency over rigorous quality control, leading to compromised vehicle safety. In the absence of stringent and proactively enforced regulations, the market is flooded with vehicles that potentially carry significant risks to consumer safety. China's new energy crisis. International trade sanctions unsettle electric vehicle and renewable sectors. China's new energy industries are currently under heightened international trade scrutiny, with several sanctions being considered or already imposed, reflecting an intensified geopolitical climate where trade and human rights intersect with environmental ambitions. Particularly in focus is the European Union's pivotal move with an investigation initiated by the European Commission to assess whether EV manufacturers have received state subsidies that give them an unfair competitive advantage in the EU market. If the Commission finds substantive evidence of illegal subsidization, it could result in the implementation of punitive tariffs to protect EU producers and ensure a level playing field. As the Commission President Ursula von der Leyen highlighted in her State of the Union address, the global market is flooded with cheaper electric vehicles, the price of which is kept artificially low due to huge state subsidies. The probe, following a surge in EU imports of Chinese EVs, is not only a commercial matter but also a signal of the bloc's vigilance against practices that could distort the market. Across the Atlantic, the United States Department of Commerce has conducted investigations into Chinese photovoltaic companies. These firms face allegations of illegal dumping, selling products in the U.S. at an unfairly low price, and receiving illegal subsidies. This incited a Section 301 investigation and subsequent imposition of tariffs. Certain Chinese photovoltaic manufacturing companies found themselves on a U.S. blacklist due to credible evidence of utilizing forced labor in Xinjiang, an issue carrying significant moral implications beyond trade. The discourse on these trade imbalances isn't confined to the powerhouse economies of the EU and US. The United Kingdom has voiced its apprehensions over the dependency on Chinese solar imports. A report by the China Strategic Risk Institute in the UK Parliament articulated the concerns, with Conservative MPs like Alexander Stafford warning that China's actions could potentially stifle the global supply of solar technology. This import reliance exposes the UK not only to potential supply chain vulnerabilities, but also knotty human rights issues directly juxtaposed with its clean energy goals and net zero aspirations. Considering the solidity and breadth of the evidence available to international bodies, the present climate of investigations and sanctions brings to the fore the challenge that China faces in maintaining its cachet as a global leader in new energy industries. These international measures could pose a substantial barrier to exports from China's EV, lithium-ion battery, and solar industries, compounded by the financial and reputational risks these sanctions and investigations could bring. Concurrently, these industry challenges are happening against the backdrop of domestic issues within China's EV market, including safety incidents, declining consumer demands, and concerns over the quality and price of Chinese electric vehicles. The synchronization of domestic and international pressures paints a complex picture for the future of China's new energy sectors, necessitating diligent navigation, accountability, and strategic adjustment to industry growth models and trade practices.